Let's create a new Spring Starter project. Click on new and then Spring Starter project. You will see this window. Here you can change the name of the file. Okay, we have given this name. Now don't change other things. Group and artifact ID will remain the same, and we already described our project over there, and it's a Maven project and we are using Java 8 version. And now we will click on next and see, because we can use this project for Java 8, 11 or 16. So here we will be requiring four dependencies: H2 database, Spring Web, Spring Boot Dev Tools, and the Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA, we are going to use it to create a table, right? And these four dependencies are sufficient because our main aim is just to connect to the H2 database. You don't change anything on this slide, and you just click on finish to build our Spring Boot project. You can see that project is building, and once it is done, then we will move ahead. Okay, so our project has been built now. Here we will see that the main file is there with the annotation @Spring Boot application. This is the main file which runs initially. Then the second file we should look at is application properties file, and herein we are going to fill the server port. Server port we are defined as 8700, so our application will run on 8700. The second configuration is spring.data source.url, which is nothing but jdbc colon h2 colon mem colon name of the database. Here we are going to take a name of the database as testdb4. This mem is nothing but in-memory database. Okay, then we have to also configure this spring.jpa show SQL as true, because in this way our queries will be read. And this file is the main configuration file to connect with the H2 database. Okay, H2 mem is what in-memory database, and our database name is testdb4. So we have what we did, we have configured this file, and now there is one more thing to do, that we have to create a class, that is Pojo class. Here I would say it is an entity class. The class name, take a class name as animal, click on create, and here this class should be annotated with the entity annotation. Entity annotation is used to create a table. This annotation comes from the JPA, that is Java persistence. And the second annotation is the ID, which will define the primary key for our table. The table name would be the animal. Okay, so we have taken this entity and @annotation from Java X persistence, right? Let's define the field private int ID and the private string. We have to take string, private string. We will consider here as animal type, because in this table we are going to consider different types of animal. Let's assume that. Then after we will import the annotations which are required over there, and for these two fields we will create a constructor through source, and we will also create the getters and setters. So once it is done, our entity class is done, and there is no more writing in this project now, because we have already created this entity class. We have also created the application.properties. We have configured ID and entity, and now the thing is that we have to run the application. So right click on the project, run as Spring Boot app. So we will see whether there is an error in the project. If not, we will move ahead. So, oh good, there is no error. The application has run properly successfully, and you can see that internally Hibernate has created a table as a name animal, and you can see that two fields are there, one is ID and one is animal type. Now we will move to see, the table is created, but how to see the table. So to see where the table exactly is, you have to type an URL. You have to connect to the H2 database using URL by typing localhost. We will see first whether we have taken the right port or not. So go to the application properties and see the port number is 8700 and not 8600. So we'll remove that one. It's 8700, then hyphen, then H2 console, and click, and here you will see that the database by default is testdb1, and here, but our database is not testdb1, it is testdb4. So we will change it and we will check the connection. So while clicking on test connection, you can see that our connection has been successfully implemented. Now we will connect to the database. On clicking connect, here you will find that animal table has been created inside the database testdb4. Here we have two fields, one is ID and second is animal type, and you can clearly see these two fields here. Now we will just see whether there is any data in the data table. We know that there is no data, but just to see that how to run this SQL query, select star from animal, click on the run, and you will find that this is an empty table. In the next video, we will see how we can insert the data in the table and how we can retrieve the data from the table. So till then, bye bye. See you in the next